Yeah, so we'll see if where this gets to.
It's the same ice that they had for Arissa, so this should come right to the center line.
Oh, I noticed she uses one of those. What do we call that broom again, Dave?
Well, mine was a stabilizer.
So it's not a crutch then. It's okay.
No.
It depends on the age at which you use it, I believe.
I think Reed Crothers is very specific about what he calls his too. I think he's got a pet name for it, maybe.
Yeah. I don't want to be one of those old guys, but I kind of always thought maybe it was questionable whether it'd be allowed. It's almost like a belly putter or the long putter, which they've outlawed. But I don't think anyone really cares too much about it.
I think you'd have all the Tuckers really arguing that they can't lean on their broom like that then either. They might not agree with you.
Yeah. So comes up short, and actually now there's an opportunity for a skip's deuce, really, if she can tuck one in behind. This is Emily Hopstein, the skip for Saskatchewan. She's going into pre-pharmacy at the University of Saskatchewan. And also played mixed doubles. A number of these players here have competed now in mixed doubles. It's really becoming another part of the sport.
Yeah, and in Alberta, in the Alberta Winter Games, mixed doubles was the curling event for the last 2 Alberta Winter Games. So my daughter Alyssa got to play in it last year, and it was great.
Just a little bit light there.
Yeah, bit of missed chances by both skips.
Hopefully, though, at least she got a chance to attempt to draw, and she's going to likely have to throw one on her last, depending where this ends up. Yeah, I always felt that mixed doubles is best played with actual couples, and create a little more entertainment if you've got someone in a relationship. You and Heather played together, right? And actually had a bit of success.
Yeah, we did pretty good. We played in her local event here. It's an international mixed doubles event, and yeah, we actually, the one year we played a lot of the teams that were at the Olympics, so we ended up beating Korea, and we beat China, and we beat the Russian team. They were a couple too, and their coupleness didn't seem quite as happy as ours after we beat them.
So just waiting for this to come up and see if they can bury it in there. And
great shot.
Yeah, put some pressure on her.
Well, definitely mission accomplished by BC. They're forcing Saskatchewan to not only make a difficult shot for their single, but throwing against 3 yellows. So yeah, definitely mission accomplished.
It is a bit of a rowdy crowd here, I noticed, too. There's been a lot of horns and bells, and which I think is great.
Fantastic atmosphere out here. Now, it's interesting. There's a couple ways to play this. They could definitely play just a little bit of a heavy draw, kind of come down and tap it back, or, even worst case scenario, draw and you give up maybe 1. They're going for it with big weight, which this is a difficult shot to make this way. We can only see about half of the rock. And the broom that she's taking, this spot curls a lot. So she's got to be throwing some decent weight here and hoping to stick around.
Dare I say Saskatchewan weight, which a province often known for the big weight hits. And you're right, David, just maybe not enough ice with that shot, and it is a steal of 3.
Yeah, she threw it pretty good, but that's a tough way to make that shot.
So they'll retain hammer and down 3 in the second end.
I think she actually threw the weight that you probably want to throw to make that shot. It looked like, board weight. But it just curls so much there. And again, during practice, they didn't throw a lot of rocks there. So it's going to curl even a little bit more. Just needed more ice and play for that curl.
But having seen the PEI game yesterday, where they, in the same situation, took 3 in the first end and ended up losing to Ontario, there's still lots of rocks to be played, a lot of things that can happen. Saskatchewan will just need to regroup. I mean, it was an end where actually they were drawing to sit 2.
Yeah,
so they were in good shape midway through the end.
Absolutely, had a good chance to score 2 there.
BC choosing to take this one right through rather than leave it at the back of the rings. So again, an elimination game, so the team that wins will continue to move on in this championship play. Dave and I are still trying to figure out how that works.
We don't know who or when they're going to play, but we know they're going to play again.
They will, but I think they play every draw for these teams now with one loss.
It's a form of a double knockout. So every team here, they just know they just need to keep winning, before they lose 2 games. Good setup for the end for Saskatchewan. Nice corner guard. The one thing that I always talk about on nights like this, especially to the younger girls that I coach, is that when this much curl, you don't need to be close to a guard. You can get by that guard by, a foot, even 2 feet, and you're still going to bury. So it's a little different mindset going from the club side to over here, where the club side, you can hold it with a sweeping, whereas here, you need to hold it with the sweeping early, and when you want it to curl, get off of it and then let it curl and clear that guard by 1 to 2 feet.
Well, you don't want to narrowly miss the guard. You'll end up on the other side wide open a lot of the times. I think this morning I saw a rock that came on buried around a rock in the top 8 and ended up half open on the other side as it was coming sideways toward the end. So.
So a little bit heavy, giving Saskatchewan another good chance to come around.
So second for Saskatchewan, Emma Weens actually plays the trumpet and also loves to sing. And plays piano as well. Lots of musical talents. And admires Joanne Courtney.
Well, Joanne Courtney comes up a lot here because Hannah Lindners, the second for Team BC, admires Joanne Courtney.
And actually a fantastic shot, and like you say, Dave, missing the guard by plenty, no risk there. Maybe a little deeper than they wanted, but at this point, you want to get something into play.
Pretty good.
Force Saskatchewan into making some shots. Make them chase a little bit more. And they actually are going to, I think they're just going to peel the guard.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if I filled out one of these forms, I might put Joanne Courtney as the person I admire too. So it's a good choice.
And this coming up a little more than they would have liked. I guess they accomplished by opening up the path to the redstone, but now they actually have a, I don't know, there's got to be a term for what's not a center and not a corner, David. What do you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that there is a term, but it did open it up, but it's certainly good chance here for Saskatchewan to bury one top 12, top 8 foot. You know, they have to, not that you're really worried about rocks in the back of the house, but at some point they need to come in obviously and beat out that one in the back 8 foot. Gotta get by though.
They do just rub, so.
So that's, you know, one of the nice formats about, or things about the format here is that coaches do have a chance to interact with the players between ends. And I think that if you're, you know, if you're coach for Team Saskatchewan, you're having that brief conversation after this end and saying, in the first 2 ends, we've wrecked or ticked on 5 shots already. We need to start opening that ice up just a little bit more.
This one looking a little tight as well. They were trying to come and get a hit and roll off the shot stone, and instead they're going to hit the guard. But they roll in to sit third shot. Actually, I don't even know if we know who is first shot there, Dave. Is it the red or the yellow?
That's a good question. Very nice shot by Caitlin McGilvery. Caitlin's actually a native of Edmonton before she moved out to Kelowna.
So that's Caitlin shooting now, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Yes,
that was
my
Shayla
mistake.
more than the previous
Yes,
one.
Caitlin's up now, yeah.
So rather than make a play on shot stone, they're going to
Trying to hit and roll in.
try to hit and roll again. It looks like she's a little narrow here, or maybe the ice didn't match the shot, but rolling away might have actually been the better result. Hard to say.
Good chance for Saskatchewan now to come in and bury 2. And they're set up right now to really force the issue and maybe get 2 or 3 right back. Caitlin and Skip Kayla Bucci just having a little conversation there about Caitlin's intern. She's thrown a couple now and they've overcurled, so they were just talking about that. And that's great. I mean, that's good to come down and say, I'm starting it, I'm throwing them a little bit soft. You don't need to be adjusting the ice too much. I'll make sure I'm more positive with the broom.
Pretty good shot.
Yeah, the nice thing is it's lined up onto the back yellow as well.
Didn't see the same finish on this one spot, though, as they had in
No, you're right.
Some of the other spots.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know if he catches the back yellow. I think he gets about half of it.
But being 3 up, you're definitely thinking of just trying to eliminate stones if you can, hold them to a deuce. You could think about an outturn draw if you wanted to get very aggressive, but at this point she can see something. Even if I like the idea of just maybe not trying to play too much weight and just get it to the nose, but I don't know if it jams.
Well,
is the problem,
I think that's
right?
the issue, right? If you get to nose and sit second and push it past the yellow one, then I think that's a great shot.
Yeah.
And I think it probably would.
That's what I'm thinking. If you can just get to the inside.
But you throw quiet weight and hit it on the outside at all and roll away, you're in big trouble. So not a lot of options though, I don't think, Kevin. I think they need to make a play on it with that hack weight or board weight and try and get the nose. I think if you're looking one shot back when they made the hit on the outside red one, instead of playing a play into the middle, this is what you had to expect was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. It's a little iffy when you're sitting in the hack as the skip and you're maybe a little unsure of what weight you want to throw. But as long as she's clear in her mind now, we'll,
yeah, they were talking between normal and control. I think they settled on control. There's that middle spot again.
And this is coming up on the center guard.
Where is it going to go? This is the problem. Right back onto the yellow one? No.
So Saskatchewan now sitting 3. But, I guess the only saving grace for BC is there's no cover. So they should be able to at least remove a couple on the next shot, maybe try to make a double. But at this point, you are looking at giving up a 3 right back.
Yeah, and your mind frame has to change a little bit. I mean, up until this point, really your focus was on how do we keep them to ideally 1, but realistically probably 2. Now you're saying, okay, let's keep them to 3. Wipe it clean, tie game going to the third end.
But and even if it's 4, we're only down 1.
Exactly. But, you know, your mind frame has changed now. You're trying to keep them to 3.
So I think they're actually going to come in and try to sit 4th. Is that the
yeah, they're going to draw top 8 foot, sit 4. I mean, it is going to leave Kielabuchi with probably a double of some sort off that, maybe into the other 2 that are in the 4 foot right now. There's going to be a double somewhere, obviously.
So Emily lives on a dairy farm. In fact, all these girls are from farm communities near Weyburn.
Yeah, all from the same area, too.
Same area.
Yeah.
So
don't want to let it die.
So they do get a nibble of the house, but that's going to sit, I don't know, 7th at this point. Is she looking at a triple here, Dave, or trying to think how? She want make sure she can get rid of 2 at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make sure you get rid of the 2 and stay there, force them to 2, and you're pretty happy with that. But yeah, there is a triple.
Has to really catch that thin.
Yeah.
So
the nice thing is there's no hole. Even if she hits a little bit on the wide side, she probably makes the double on the back too.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't then jam on the yellow.
Yeah. But I actually don't think there's a hole.
Well, when you got this many rocks in play, sometimes good and bad things can happen for a 1/4 of an inch. So we'll see what the result here is.
Kielabuchi, last skips rock here in the second end.
And they're on it right away again. It's coming up more than they would have liked, but maybe they'll get this another way. And you can see they're looking now to see who's second.
Unfortunately, we can't quite get the camera view to tell for sure.
Yeah. Well, one way to deal with it would just be to hit for 3.
Yeah.
So
if it's that close, you move that one.
Nope. They think they're first and second, so it looks like they are just going to draw for 1 for the 3rd shot. So we could have a tie game after 2. We'll have to see if Emily can make this final shot. Just don't want to think that you have backing.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you're icing for the draw. You can't throw through the house or it won't curl enough.
Yeah, we saw a few shots not finish here, right? So with the draw weight.
Line's good.
And the sweepers didn't have to do much work there. Oh, look at that, actually. Still pretty close.
It's always one of those shots that's right in between because the sweepers are saying, no, we don't need it for backing. And if you let it curl past that yellow one and you end up needing it for backing, you're wishing you'd swept it in order to stay on the yellow one.
Exactly, yeah. So communication worked out. Saskatchewan picks up 3, and it's a tie ball game. BC has hammer now in the 3rd.
Yeah, it was actually good judging. They said, no, we don't need it, and they were right. So Team Saskatchewan had to reset after the first end, and it's time for Team BC to reset after the second end. Coach Tom Bucci having a quick conversation with the team just to kind of get them back on page, remind them that it's tie game. We've got hammer. We've played a pretty good first couple ends other than a couple missed shots later in the second end, so just keep it going.
Well, and particularly with the 5-rock rule, there's always going to be opportunity. Teams are going to get their chances, so you can't really think about the context of the game, too early. There's lots of shots to be made, and things can swing wildly. We saw that quite a bit this year in a number of major events, in particular the Scotties Championship final.
Yeah.
So
I think it's probably a fairly obvious prediction to say that we might have a fairly high-scoring game.
Mm-hmm. So center guard goes up. But these young players, Dave, get so many opportunities. I think that, we worry sometimes in Canada that the rest of the world is catching up, and they certainly are getting better and better. But it's events like these and the opportunities for teams to play in these kind of conditions. And, wear your provincial colors. You've got the university programs now. You've got winter games. You've got the U-18s. I was reading earlier today, there was a U-11s. Little Rock program. There's all sorts of opportunities now for
absolutely
for players to compete. And
I think next year in Alberta we'll have a U-15 provincial playdowns as well as the U-18s and
really?
the U-21s. Yeah, that's what I've heard. So that's fantastic. And I know here in Sherwood Park, my wife Heather, she runs a club here, and it's it's just busting at the seams in terms, well, all the leagues, but the junior programs are just terrific. And we just see so many great young players at events like this. When we went to the Canada Winter Games in Red Deer a couple weeks ago, just seeing for me, that was my first exposure to this level of high-level curling or this age of high-level curling, and it was unbelievable. I was really amazed how good the players were.
So BC, I think, thought about coming around on the intern side, instead deciding to draw around with the outturn and bring this into the forefoot.
Yeah, Arissa Toffolo, just trying to get into that top 4. I mean, you could actually bury either way, but this does seem to be a little bit more natural.
See, I'd be taking that to try to, it's finishing on its own, but we've definitely got play towards the center. This favors Saskatchewan.
Nicely buried, and you can see the broom right on the outside of the 12-foot to get around there. It just shows you how much curl there is in the spot. A little bit heavy. I mean, that's always the problem or the challenge, right? Is that when you know there's backing there, as a thrower, you naturally want to make sure you're there thinking it's okay from there, there's backing, but the minute you increase that weight that little bit, you're not getting the same curl. The broom would have to be in a little different place. So it's always that difficulty of making sure that you don't overthrow it just because there is backing there.
Well, and also coming a little bit short isn't really terrible depending where the line is, and you still block off the path for the opponent.
Yeah.
That's why second is often the hidden position, because you don't necessarily always have to make everything exactly perfect. You can just don't miss poorly.
Yeah. So Hannah Lindner trying to come around. Ideally, it's top 8-foot, top 12-foot, but a little further out, I think. Not bad.
So definitely a miss, but you can, yeah, like you say, David, if Saskatchewan had put their rock there and come light, I think that would have been a better position. So
yeah, you could see on the look or on Hannah's face kind of that look of disappointment that it wasn't right where she wanted it. But I mean, that is the way to miss. There's no question.
So going to come with the intern now. I think they can likely get to the back there. It looks like weight's not too bad.
It's going to overcurl if anything. They need to hold it out there.
Well, and it does come up and hit their red in the top 12. So one yellow stone sitting there in the back four and surrounded up front. So
they can guard that. I mean, it doesn't guard the draw. BC guards that red one. But they're hitting it. Okay.
I wonder if she's trying to hit.
I think just making the double, hit as thick as you can.
Take the double, but
yeah.
I like to not lose your shooter here, though, because then you're just actually going to open up that side. And it looks like that's what they might do.
That is a good thing it touched the red one.
Yeah.
Nice shot. Here's a replay. Just touches that red one. Otherwise, it was a dead jam onto her own yellow.
So Saskatchewan coach Claire Johnson wanted me to have a shout out to Callie Banco and Ice Maker Glenn from the Weyburn Curling Club. Not sure if Glenn has a last name. Maybe I forgot to write it down, but it's Ice Maker Glenn at least for now. Right. So we'll call him.
If there's more than one Ice Maker Glenn there, then they can both just, assume it's for them.
Yeah.
So intern freeze, I think a little bit light again. No, not by much. Oh, good sweep. Yellow still shot rock. The danger here is that if you're BC, the yellow rock, as we look at it on the right-hand side, just in front of the house, is lined up pretty nicely onto that red one, which goes back onto your own yellow. So Saskatchewan's definitely going to use that if they have an opportunity to, just to tap it in.
And it could be for 3, not for 2. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
A circus shot for 2 is never something you're too unhappy with, because often you expect a team with hammer to get to, but you don't want it to be for 3 or more. Oh, we see there's a timeout, an attempted timeout here by BC.
So the original call was to draw with the outturn. I'm thinking a guard. I'm not exactly sure where the call was. But Coach Tom Bucci heading down to...
Well, it's interesting. The entire team is heading down to the other end.
Yep. which is the way it works at this level, is that the team that's not throwing stays at the end where the rocks are being thrown from. And the team that's called the timeout gets to, you know, go to the end where the rocks are.
Yeah, I actually saw in I think it was the game this morning or maybe it was last night, but both teams in close proximity in a timeout where you almost could have overheard what the other team was saying. So, and here's how we got here. A rub on the front red and with a
Still
draw
looking
attempt.
pretty good for BC until right here when they push that one over behind the yellow, and that's what the concern is now. So followed up with a real nice in-turn draw. I mean, a couple of options. They could definitely guard that yellow and the red. They could play the in-turn, I think, like a freeze in there, but it still leaves that yellow-red tap for BC.
Looks like they're thinking of making a play on that right now, David.
Yeah, you could hit it right in the nose. That red should squirt, you know, I think in front of your yellow. But dangerous, right? I mean, you always look at the risk versus reward. If this is a relatively easy shot, I think it's got a good result to it. But it's not. I mean, it's really risky. It certainly has the chance to turn out great.
Do you think they're playing it as a raised double, trying to catch this almost on the inside?
My guess is they're trying to hit on the outside a little bit, maybe 3/4 of a rock, and just stick that one there. So kind of surround that red one that's left then with a bunch of yellows. I think trying the double's a little risky because if you miss it just that little bit, it jams on your own.
Well, and it's a shot where you want to think about where your shooter's going to end up.
So tight again with that in-turn. Yeah.
And kind of a double kiss and an interesting result.
Yeah, I was going to say not the worst spot to leave that rock. It's actually pretty easy to throw some weight through there now and make contact on the yellow and into the reds, but definitely that little bit tight for Caitlin. Just that in-turn a little soft.
The in-turn side is all yellow. I wonder how those two are actually lined up. So I think they're just attempting a tap.
This is where if they're throwing a little bit of extra weight, it's going to run straighter until the end. If she overthrows it at all, we're not going to see the curl they're hoping for.
I noticed Shayla's got that delivery where I know some players have it where they actually look down away from the broom and down to the rock. I don't know, Dave, if that's anything you've ever tried. It's almost like not looking at the hole when you're putting, but some people do it. Yeah,
I know people like Wayne Madaw, spot curling, right? He looks at a spot on the hog line, for example.
So I don't know if that was the original intent, but definitely bunch the red rocks up above the 4-foot. A little hard now for BC to get in there. I'd be tempted to start slashing something on that side, Dave, with the yellows, but
yeah, they could. I mean, they're going to play a nose hit on this one, and again, just try and control the control zone. If they can stick one right there, you know, they've kind of got both sides cut off. But the problem is for them, how are they going to score 2 or 3 out of this?
And it's kind of a little late to think control zone, right? We're heading into Skip's Rocks.
Looked like a better throw that time by Caitlin.
It's a bit of an inside roll, and I don't think that back yellow is going to be around much longer.
No,
if there's any.
I mean, as close as she was to being on the nose, that little inside roll has caused a big problem now for BC. Saskatchewan can hit either yellow, and those red ones are going directly back onto the yellow, and BC or Saskatchewan sitting 2 at that point. There's definitely drag effect there, though. That's the other thing to consider.
And they don't want to make a play on it right now. It looks like they're just going to.
Well, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be there in the last shot, too. I don't know. I think I'd be making a tap on it now, though.
Well, if this comes up at all, you might end up with one. It's not going to take much, actually, just if they do rub that top yellow. Although it wouldn't be the weight that she wants.
No, that's the furthest out we've seen yet for a draw, so right on the edge of the 12-foot almost.
So Emily was a curling MVP in grade 10. So as I thought, yeah, it did come up, and just a little rub on the yellow. Were you ever curling MVP, Dave? That you can think of? No. In grade 10, I meant.
In grade 10.
Yeah, or 11.
No, I don't think so.
Well, your brother took all of those, probably.
He was definitely the better curler when we were younger. So a good chance for BC to draw in. I mean, we know how much it curls there. They don't even have to be close to that red one to get half around.
And I know it's early, but you see the clock running right now for BC.
Yeah.
This is kind of something a lot of these teams aren't that comfortable with is time clocks. They don't play it that often, I would imagine. So
no, they don't.
It's,
I think at every provincial championship they did, so they had some familiarity with it. But they've used, as you're pointing out, 2 minutes more than Saskatchewan has here by the third end. So I'm not sure what the call is exactly here.
Maybe throw a lot of weight and see what happens.
So I think the drag effect's fine. It's going to push the red one by the yellow. I guess they're playing the run double to sit potentially 3. Yellow, so the yellow one in the middle of all the yellows, onto the 2 reds. The top red will spin out the side, and the back red, with a little drag, should just miss that back yellow one. There's a lot of ifs in there, but
okay. You definitely want to try and get 1 red out of there. So if you get a chance for a circus shot on your last shot, if there's just 1 to remove, you could score a big end.
The only thing we ever say is don't help the other team. She's close. She's close. There.
Yeah, that top red just stuck around for second shot. I think if that spins out, maybe even half 12. But
the distance between the 2 reds was just a little too much for the drag. So they were hoping it was going to come by their drag, but there was probably, what would you think, 3 inches between the 2 reds there? Just a little too much to really have much drag effect.
And certainly, if you know, it's difficult at this age too, right? But I mean, at the bigger weight there, if you have kind of a Kevin Cooey weight, that you know, you probably get action. Both those reds might be sitting in the 12-foot, and you'd be sitting 2 right now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Oh, and finally it did happen. I was waiting for it. A broom nearly actually touching the sideboards.
Out-turn draw. If they could, if they can get one into the top 4-foot, it's going to put a lot of pressure on BC to make a really difficult shot for their point.
It's got to be a little unnerving to the eye as you're coming out. You're not used to sliding towards that kind of a target. But actually, a nice delivery and a good throw.
Line's going to be close. Great shot.
Draws in, so Saskatchewan sitting 3. BC now has to figure out how to get a point here.
So in-turn tap.
It's really a double tap, right, Dave? So you almost have to think about just a little extra weight. It's you know, T-line's not going to cut it if you're trying to move the 2 stones.
That's right. And when you're throwing more weight like that, you know, the broom placement becomes an issue then, because if you're going to throw back line weight, that curl doesn't really kick in until the far hog line. So you can't over ice it thinking, you know, this is what I take for a draw.
And there's still a bit of a gap. If those stones are closer together, you can sort of hit that top one almost anywhere.
Yeah, so she just tightened the ice up, which I think is probably a good call. Kayla Bucci, last rock here in the 3rd end. I think line's close.
Doesn't look like she has a ton of weight.
No, it's got a curl.
So. Actually,
great shot.
Fantastic shot. BC takes 1.
Well done.
4-3 heading to the 4th end, and Saskatchewan will have hammer.
Now that was a really well called shot. I mean, well thrown, of course, but I think you know, when she sat down in the hack, Kayla realized that, you know what, if I'm throwing backline weight, or I need to tighten that ice up a little bit. But it's unnerving because you see so much curl in every shot. And here you are asking for less ice on shots that all they've done is over curling. So really well processed.
And BC coach Tom Bucci mentioning to maybe keep it moving a little bit, as they are more than 2 minutes behind their opponent. So BC wants to get a few shots in quickly here and just maybe pick up time.
Yeah, you want to be probably 3.5 minutes an end, I believe. So they're right on that edge of being tight for time.
Very close to cooey time.
Cooey time,
where they'd be. I think I like the term, I don't know if it's been used yet, but the definition of a cooey is when you throw your final shot and you have less than 10 seconds left. See, Kevin did that again this morning.
Oh, did he?
He did, yeah.
Wow.
5 seconds.
Well,
I thought it was 4. Maybe the Canadian timekeeper might have just stopped that clock a little bit early.
You know, his argument is that you don't get any extra points for time on the clock, so might as well use it.
I think part of it is that he's just so calm in that situation, and it doesn't seem to faze him at all.
Well, practice does make perfect. So after all those rocks in play, 1 point for BC. Corner guard coming up for Saskatchewan.
Have not seen the delayed corner much, and I was talking to Selena yesterday as well. She said not something she's seen a lot of teams attempt here at this event.
No, I know that watching the Alberta host team, the Sonnenberg team, they were doing that a couple days ago, but you're right, I haven't seen a lot of it.
A lot of different thoughts, too, with the 5-rock, David, about when you're in this situation, you're 1 up. How do you counter it? What are some ways that you can play out the end? Because maybe you don't want to get everything bunched up and give your opponent a chance to move things around. Maybe you want to actually play around a corner, which generally is something you're not going to do without hammer. But
I think a lot of it depends on your opponent as well. We're not seeing, at this point anyways, the big weight run backs that are going to get rid of 3 or 4 rocks at one time. So I think what you want to do in this case is just try and make sure you're forcing your opponent to throw against a couple, and hopefully you force them to 1 by doing that.
So they're going to like to come around this very tight corner guard. They could have thrown up a second one. Even on the same side, actually, would have been an interesting play.
Yeah. Very nice draw.
Nice weight. Didn't finish that much heading that way, but still not an easy shot. And if she does clip that front, might actually. It's where you don't want to play with too soft a weight because you might just rub your opponent in.
In turn board. It looked a little bit soft out of her hand, and if it's soft at all, we know what's going to happen. Really close, though. Didn't roll in.
No. Yes, that's a good miss.
Guard goes back up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hit it too hard with that weight and knocked it right out of play. Oh, that's... That's not exactly where that guard was, David.
It looks like a little more guarded to me.
Looks a little more guarded than it did before, but I guess if you're the non-offending team, I'm wondering if does BC actually have a comment there to say that it's not where it should be?
I mean, I think generally speaking, you kind of work together on putting the right spot.
Yeah.
I don't know that BC actually took a good look at it, but there's no question it's
that's
2 or 3 inches over from where it was. Yeah. That rock's a lot harder to hit now.
I wonder if she's going to notice it now. I think she's looking at it saying,
guessing.
hey, wait, last time we looked at this shot, it didn't look like this. Yeah. No, I know.
So run back. I mean, the nice thing
yeah,
about this run back is that on the wide side is how to miss it, and you get the red stone on the edge of the 12-foot.
Yeah, good chance of getting at least one of them. Well, it looked like she kind of fired it backwards.
Yeah, it didn't too bad.
Just don't want to hit it on the inside, but looks like maybe they're trying to get it the other way, and
it was pretty well thrown.
Jammed it. So a nice roll there, rolling away. I think the double's there, though, at least to
pretty steep, though. I mean, that's
them.
you got to hit that pretty thin to make that double.
Yeah. Well, and also, it's you'll be sitting second shot with a corner guard, so a bit of damage control, really.
Danger here is obviously if it overcurls a little bit and touches that guard. Saskatchewan's going to draw in as hit 4. So
without anything in play to hide behind.
Yeah.
Later on, it's not an easy shot. I think she was playing this just to maybe hit and roll in front, but there's so little of the rock that she can see. I'm not sure that was even possible. So. I don't know if I like going there, Dave. If she comes short, she might actually give BC an opportunity. I guess it's always difficult. Well, it's difficult. You're sitting 3. You shouldn't complain. But at some point, with all the action you get on the rocks and everything that can take place, where do you put it? Right?
Yeah, I think you try and spread things out as much as you can. And you realize that the other team's going to make a double somewhere along the way. So, center line, top 12, top 8.
So Shayla coming a little bit heavy and slipping to the back 8-foot. I guess at this stage you're always going to look and say, well, I might have a triple, but let's just get rid of 2 right now.
Yeah, or even hitting and sitting on top of the one they just threw.
Well,
roll a rock to the right and stay right in front of it.
Yeah,
they might roll out, then you've got an easier double.
Well, you definitely want to think about keeping your shooter around.
Yeah.
Sometimes the mistake is to try for something, lose your shooter, and then your opponent still can doesn't have anything to shoot at, and they can do what they want.
She's pretty close.
Kind of nosed it, and a little inside roll, but
the easiest double for sure is on the 2 back red ones. So the one just, you know, as we look at the screen right now, to our left, touching the tee line, and that back one in the back 8 foot. So if there's a mistake here and they roll out, they'll go, you know, have a chance to make that double.
We're almost kind of between 2 shots there. They could have swept it to try to catch a double and roll in front of the other one, although they would be second shot, but.
Well, this one's out there. Needs to curl. Here it comes.
And it is a jam, but the shooter will stick around. That is a lonely yellow.
Well, that's, you know, that's what we were saying, is that for BC, they needed to hit and stick and try and force a mistake, which they got. Good chance to hit and sit 2 now.
Well, they were looking at the double, but I definitely think the right play is to hit the sit 2. It's just in your mind, you're thinking, oh, I can get rid of 2 of these. Maybe I should try that first, but you want to sit 2, be a long crosshouse double.
Yeah, it might be there, though.
And not a surprise, you can see some Rough Rider gear in the back. Watching on.
Good throw.
Attempted some directional sweeping, but it was right on the nose. So Emily's thinking just a hit and roll rather than attempt the double.
Yeah, really, it's kind of the roles have reversed right now. Saskatchewan wants to hit, roll in front of the other BC stone, force a mistake, and still get a good chance at 2 or 3 this end.
Well, a danger course, you try the double and you miss. And they can split the rings or even play double on the red and you're out of the end. This way, even if you roll over and BC does make a shot, they may leave you a double at that point. So you put the pressure back on them to position the stone properly.
And you always look at plan B as well. I mean, the double's pretty thin, but if this over curls, there's always that plan B.
And it's
pretty close to the plan B.
Came up to almost plan B.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's plan C. It's the roll away. So BC could split the rings here, but they're just electing to blast the reds. It's a fairly simple double. Just got to make sure they don't come across the face if it curls up on them too much. So. Might be tempted to draw to the open side,
I think
Dave.
I'd be drawing.
Yeah.
You're right. The danger here is it over curls at all. You jam that one, wide open hit for 2. But she took more ice. I think sitting in the hack, thinking the same thing that we were just saying. Lots of house to roll too.
The thing with the split is you're more likely to get a force. You might actually still leave a blank here.
Oh, good shot.
No, actually, it's a fantastic shot.
Yep. So draw for 1, or hit for 1. Either one's fine. Completely personal preference. I don't think one is right over the other. It's just what you know.
Yeah, this would be the Colleen Jones outturn hit right here if Colleen was looking.
There would have been a lot more hits.
Well, and ice conditions matter there too. Sometimes
They do.
if it's adjusting and you're unsure.
Yeah.
So final stone for Emily Hopstein. cleaning it. Never figure out why they clean it and then they stop cleaning it. If I'm the skip at the other end, that makes me nervous. But it looks like she's perfect right on the button. Fantastic draw.
Great shot.
1 for Saskatchewan. It'll be 4-4 as we head to the break. And we are back at the second championship draw of the 2019 U-18 Canadian National Championships. I am Kevin Palmer and joined with David Nedouin, who should be back with us in a moment. And let's look at some of the highlights from the game so far in the first half. Saskatchewan getting down early with 3 points, but then coming back here and tying the game up in the second end. Just barely holding on there for their 3 points. And BC was able to get a force in the last end, so it's now tied 4-4, and BC has hammer in the fifth end. And pressure draw there by Saskatchewan skip, Emily Hofstein. Saskatchewan put up a tight center guard with their first. BC is elected to come around into the rings. A little bit light here, and we'll actually place what'll become a second center guard. So opportunity now for Saskatchewan to bunch up play around the center. We can see that the broom has been pretty consistently out on the edge of the 12 with still a ton of curl. Haven't seen it straighten up at all yet. Might see that a little bit towards the end of the game. Although at times there hasn't been as much finish in the rings as the teams have been expecting. So a lot of curl early and then just not really going sideways like we've seen. So a pretty good shot, not fully buried, but still tucking part of the stone around into the top 4 foot. So BC will have to do something with that. They're going to freeze to it, maybe a slight tap. You can see that the ice they're giving is actually tightened up by about almost a foot from what Saskatchewan provided. Could be different throwing motion or just a different idea on what the actual movement is. So a little bit heavy here though. So BC will chap and roll over to the open. So a few rocks in play here, Dave, already. We've got Saskatchewan hitting the lie 2. I noticed in the other couple of games, and we'll have to keep an eye out for it, that as the game's going on, I mean, there's still a ton of curl, but we're seeing maybe a little less as the game goes on. Is that something that you might expect, or?
Yeah, I mean, it almost seems like it's that one spot we've seen right on the edge of the 4 foot where with a bit of weight they're running just that hair straighter, and as soon as you get inside that, it's got lots of curl again. So it's possible. I mean, we'll see as the game goes on. If it does straighten up a little bit, it's kind of that same spot as that in-turn coming back towards us, that draw, that just wasn't quite bearing as much as some of the other spots. But we know this outturn, how much curl there is here, where they're taking almost out middle of 12 foot, almost towards the edge of the 12 foot to get center line. But it really is weight sensitive.
Yeah, but definitely here I've seen now a few shots come down in the spot, and yeah, a little heavy, but still quite wide.
Yeah.
And interesting, of course, that BC chose to just play the outturn draw, disregarding the red rock in the back of the 8 foot. I think the correct call, but not the result they wanted. You don't want to come deep there now. The Saskatchewan does have those staggered guards now up in front, and which is the right positioning when you don't have hammer.
The saving grace for BC right now is that Saskatchewan's making a play on the back one, and assuming they make that, everything again is still behind the tee line, so it gives them that same outturn draw again. So the other shot that Saskatchewan could be looking at is just to draw themselves. I mean, they're sitting shot rock. They could bury one around there in top 4.
top 4. They could have even chosen to come around with an in-turn and try to create that Christmas tree and see if they chase after them. But it's
Colin
this
Jones
is coming up
tree.
too much. And they do roll out. Yeah, this looks familiar. And now actually BC's rethinking it, or are they going to? No, they're going to go back to the draw.
Same shot.
Mm-hmm. Might have almost been better than sticking there.
I think it might have been, yeah. So Hannah Lindner, second for Team BC, playing the out-turn draw, top 4 foot. Again, hanging out there a bit, though. I really think it's just weight sensitive. I mean, it is easily getting to center line, but it's just heavy.
A little bit of disgust there.
Well, I haven't been timing, you know, as much as I would be if I were coaching necessarily, but we see it so often in any level of play after that break. You come out, whether it's, you know, the 5th end or after, you know, a 10-end game, you come out in the 6th end, and it's that half-second quicker. And so many times, you know, no matter who's playing, whether it's the Brier, the Scotties, or here at the U-18 Nationals, that we see those next few shots just being thrown a little bit heavy and everything behind the tee line.
Now here you can see the weight was fine, but it still hung right out there.
Sure did.
So they're having a little trouble figuring out how to get into that 4 foot and get it buried. So opportunity now for BC to make a roll and tuck themselves in behind. So again, this BC team, not a lot of games together, only 2 games played as a team before the provincials, and some discussion there about which turn she prefers. So good to have some communication, I guess.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, for sure. Caitlin McGilvery. Her intern in particular has had quite a few that have curled a lot. So you know, she threw a little bit more weight to hold us straighter.
Now Saskatchewan with a chance to get a roll in behind, but no, another bonk. At some point here, yeah, they're going to be still rolling for shot.
I like the call. I'd like to see Caitlin throw just a hair less weight.
Looks like they may get a little roll here, not enough though, and still going to leave.
You're right, though.
A little bit of space
straighter.
there. Yeah,
a little bit straighter there.
Now, I think if Saskatchewan is able to get inside here, though, it's going to be biting into the 12 foot. You have to make a play on it. There's really no other choice at this point with BC with the hammer, but. Yeah, Kayla might be thinking on her next shot of, in either case, maybe making an in-turn draw. Just have to be careful this doesn't sit out. You could very easily jam this yellow onto your own red and give the advantage back to BC. So softer weight from Emily here, and looks like she has really nice line. Even
Great
getting
shot.
a little bit of an inside roll, so fantastic shot.
So I think you're right. It's time for BC to ignore these rocks. They've got both ways they could draw around this.
Yeah, I mean, she was looking at a hit and roll, which I guess it's the shot you make is fine. At this point, I don't know that red's going to come into play at all, but however she can get in behind and tucked in there, she could give herself a chance for 2. But definitely a big shot. Yeah, I might be tempted again with that out turn, because depending if you even hang it out a little bit, you might leave a jam. But they might be a little gun shy. They just was not able to bear anything in there. That hit actually had the most curl of anything we've seen all end.
I think the question is, which shot are you more confident making? And I would say more times than not, they're likely going to make the draw into the 8-foot or 4-foot to sit shot over a perfect hit and roll. But not to say this isn't there. It absolutely is.
I think, oh, this is coming up too much.
Yeah.
And Rack's on the front. Yeah, and one of the dangers, too, I think these teams, they don't play on this much curl very often, I would imagine. No. And so playing the hit and the hit and roll with different weights is so sensitive. That comes with a lot of experience. I think you're right. A draw is a draw. But those hits, they seem like it's maybe a very simple shot to make, but
and if you think 2 ends back, that's the exact same spot that Kayla threw that nice in-turn tap for a single point.
Yeah.
So she had the same shot, the same draw.
Maybe
she
just
thrown it 2 ends earlier.
Yeah. Throw even a hair less weight, and she would have been fine.
Yeah, exactly. So I always say it's, you make the easy shots, make your opposition make the hard shots. Great chance now for Saskatchewan. If they can get one, top 4 there, it's going to obviously force BC to throw the out turn draw for one. Anywhere in front, I guess.
And good weight here from Emily. They might have just left that too long. It seems to slow down on them a bit, but nothing wrong there. They can
pretty good.
Certainly blocked off the path.
Yep. Out turn draw for one.
Been a lot of tense final shots so far this game.
There has.
With these girls facing a big score if they don't make the last one.
Sweepers don't seem too worried about it. They think it's pretty good.
Just needs to bite the 4-foot. And all of a sudden, it looks like they left that a while. And
gotta go.
And a great shot. Another pressure draw. A single for BC, and they'll stay ahead of their competition here. 5-4. Saskatchewan will have hammer in the 6th end.
Very well swept. Nice throw. Nice throw. But I like that the sweepers didn't panic. They knew where it was. They weren't so worried that Caitlin was at the other end getting pretty anxious. They needed to go, and the sweepers were like, no, we got this. We got this. Yeah, it's kind of been, last end all momentum with Saskatchewan, and Kayla comes up with a really nice draw. The end before that, BC had all the pressure, and obviously Emily came up with a really nice shot for her point. So it's definitely been ends of momentum. But the Skips have been throwing some great shots to keep control or get their points.
So just trying to bring you up to speed on what else is happening out here. We've got over on sheet A, it's Northern Ontario playing New Brunswick, and Northern Ontario is up 6-3 with New Brunswick holding the hammer. And both those teams undefeated in the championship round. We've got sheet B. Ontario is down 4-2 with hammer against the Alberta host team, and that is.
They both won their first game as well.
Also both won their first games, and then of course our game here is 5-4 on sheet C. Sheet D, we've got Manitoba and Alberta tied up. This is again all girls games. And Alberta has hammer. That is an elimination game.
Playing the corner guard and slides in. BC can now make a play on that. So with the five rock free guard zone, not too concerning. Saskatchewan can still throw up another guard. I don't think she liked that.
I know, it's that's like a mid-slide grimace right there. But really no problem.
Pretty good shot.
And on
here's this replay on this. Oh, no, I thought we were going to see the grimace.
And on the boys' side of the draw, just a quick update. So on sheet F, this is being played over on the curling ice. We've got Manitoba's down 5-4 with hammer in the 6th, yeah, against BC. And we've got Alberta's down 4-2 against Ontario in the 6th end. They have hammer. Saskatchewan is down 4-3 with hammer against Nova Scotia.
That's an elimination game.
And New Brunswick up 3-2, and they actually hold hammer against the Nova Scotia host team.
Yeah, that's an elimination game as well.
So rather than play a guard, just electing to remove those 2 yellow stones. So Saskatchewan deciding that maybe they'd be happy to blank this in if that should happen, or if they get a half shot, maybe they'll attempt to play above the rings. We'll have to see. Do you like that call there, Dave, when you're down 1?
Well, I don't think the Rocks were in a terribly dangerous position. I think they could have thrown a corner guard and forced the issue a little bit here. You know, you're getting down to the late part of the game now, so blank 6, which is fine. They do have hammer playing 7. But I would have liked to have seen them force the issue a little bit.
Yeah, or even come down and tap, just something to force your opponent into a harder shot. You know, I'm not a major proponent of the even ends theory. I do understand why skips think of it that way. There's obviously many things that can happen in a game, and sometimes we overthink it. At the same time, being 1 down with hammer in that second to last end is a difficult position to be in, and you're trying to decide how to play it.
Do you score 2 and you're only 1 up? Do you try and blank it? I mean, that means your skip needs to make 2 blanks, first of all, and they're not guarantees.
Well, and that's the other thing, you know, you're thinking about blanking the end, but particularly at this level, you know, a nose hit sometimes will happen. So even in this situation, there's no guarantee of a blank.
No.
And so, yeah, I do think I prefer getting some aggressive play there. The other thing is, you know, if you're really thinking about the time clocks, you're giving BC a chance to have a quick end.
Yeah, that's true.
But they did certainly catch up a bit of their time. So,
generally speaking, I always ask myself, if I'm the opposition, what would make me happy? And I probably don't want to do that. So if you're BC, you were happy with the hits. I mean, you're like, great. Well, let's just waste another end. We got the lead still going into 7.
Yeah. Yeah, and the difficulty in that second to last end when you're 1 down is you'd probably just take a blank if they handed it to you at the beginning of the end, because the danger is you're going to risk a whole lot to get a deuce, and it's still not a fantastic position.
No.
So it kind of puts you in that either-or throughout the entire end, whereas the team without hammer can just go right at you. And the only thing they're worried about is a 3. Well, and a 4, but the 3 or the 4, clearly. But I think that BC's feeling pretty comfortable right now, although they are making good use of the time, getting those shots thrown quickly. And somehow I think in the next couple ends we might have a lot more rocks in play and some time to stand around and think about what they need to do. So you want to bank it right now. I think we talked earlier about the attempt to try a time clock per end. I think we both disliked that format.
Yeah, that was I think, you know what, I'm all for trying new things, and they tried something, and now they can say they've tried it, and they don't have to do it again.
So there hasn't, has it been universal that everyone agreed maybe that's not the way
I'm pretty sure.
to do it? I think part of it from the fan perspective, I don't think anyone wants, towards the end of the game, is worried about the end being played quickly itself. You think about the whole purpose of the time clock was just to get people to get moving. It's nobody really wants to see a team lose because of it.
No, and you want, I mean, especially when you get down towards the end of the game, you want the game to be played at its highest level. If that means having some conversations about shots to make sure you're doing the right thing, you don't want to limit that or penalize somebody because it might take them another 20 seconds that end.
Mm-hmm. Now, if this stays out of the rings, no, that will be a biter. So we're on the next one. We'll see if BC isn't able to roll towards the center. What Saskatchewan chooses to do with their final 2 shots, they may actually end up with a tight corner guard.
Bucci. Her favorite curler is Brendan Botcher.
How about that?
Yeah.
I have not seen a Dave Neto one on these lists anywhere thus far. But,
well,
some of these players might be too young that they may not even know that you were a player, Dave. It's hard to say.
I think Tom introduced me to Kelly yesterday when we were upstairs and mentioned that I'd won the Brier a couple times, and she said, "How long ago was that?"
Way back in the 2000s. Yeah.
So she was born in 2002. So a year after we won our first Brier, so I don't think she remembers that one.
Yeah. And yeah, as we thought, Emily's going to come around this. I definitely like this strategy. Now, you don't have to be anywhere near that front guard. You don't want to be sweeping for line. In fact, in this situation, I don't even know that you necessarily want to bury it, particularly if deep like this. That's unfortunate. You know, even show them a nibble and make them make a play on it, so that at worst case scenario, you're going to end up with a blank. She puts that one right through the ring. So opportunity now for BC to follow that path and maybe get a force. Unfortunately, that Red Rock at the back was going to catch it anyway. So
yeah, mission accomplished. Forced the single point.
Even if it came out the other side, because of the red stone, I don't even know if you try the blank because you're sort of stuck. But scoring one's not terrible.
Yeah, 4th and 7, and you've got the hammer playing 8.
Yeah, this was an end where it's just a steal would be a terrible outcome. And lock can still happen in the next end. And, you know, sometimes you get the opportunity to put up 2 centers even, and then you get very aggressive and you get a miss. You can put a lot of pressure on the opponent.
Well, this is right where Emily threw the draw to the 4-foot 2 ends ago, so probably feels pretty good about the spot.
Just needs a good chunk of the 8-foot to score their single.
Sweeper's working on it. Big scrub.
And just
Just gets it, yeah.
That's an end-to-end job there by those sweepers. I think they need a pat on the back. So one for Saskatchewan, tied 5-5, and BC has hammer heading to the 7th. That's one of those sweeps when you want to take a timeout now between the ends, just catch your breath a little bit. If you're the lead, you're glad to throw now. The last thing you want to do is sweep again.
Real good shot again. I mean, it's kind of been a skips battle here. Every time they need a shot out of their skip, they're putting it in there or throwing it up.
Of course, you were the last rock thrower, but you did have to do quite a bit of sweeping. Now, was that because Randy liked to be in the house and call the game, or he just didn't like to sweep?
Yeah, he couldn't sweep.
Okay,
no,
that's not in his later years anyway.
Well, I guess back in the 50s or 60s when he played with Hector Gervais. I don't know if it's that far back, but he was a front-end player for Hector Gervais way back when.
Yeah.
So I think he could work a
corn
broom or a synthetic broom pretty good. Yeah.
The old rink rat.
Yeah. No, you know what, I love sweeping too. It was a great way for me to kind of burn out stress and not worry too much about or not let that stress kind of build up inside me. I could sweep and just kind of burn it out. Felt good.
So
center guard a little bit overcurled.
A little bit overcurled. Looks like maybe they'll throw a long one on the next one. Abby's grandmother actually played in the 1976 Lassie, representing Saskatchewan. That event was won by Lindsay Sparks out of BC. So, a good shot by BC. I don't know that they had to bring it that deep, but it looks like Saskatchewan's going to elect to go right in after it. Do you like this, Dave, or do you like the second center guard? I guess when they throw it that well.
Well, I think it's a pretty good spot, yeah. I mean, and with this much curl, if you get in there too, tap it back a little bit, sit right on top of it, so that's a pretty good spot.
Yeah, the danger of that second center guard, and then they place another one even better.
Exactly.
You're going to be chasing all end. Now this is hanging out there quite a bit.
Yeah, that's way out there, isn't it?
A little bit light as well, so. Yeah. Still, it's in front of the rings, and something that may be used later. Might actually be biting. So BC will have a look and see if they can make a play on this. And it is, so. I know she wants to roll under here, but I don't know that you necessarily have to.
Yeah, I was going to say, it'd sure be nice if they could end up sticking in the 12-foot somewhere.
Yeah, well, it's a case you don't necessarily want to create staggered guards, particularly around the center line when you have last rock.
Yeah, good shot.
Very good. Great shot if that sticks around.
Yeah.
Let's see what.
There it is.
Yep, just hangs on. This is kind of the a point early in the end where you're trying to decide how aggressive you want to be. I like this still. You're still only tied. There's a lot of rocks to come. Might seem like you have to go back towards the center, but the danger, of course, is you don't want to give up two. Definitely can't give up three. That would hurt you. And a little bit of a roll at least, and then by keeping the rock in play, it forces BC to make a play on it. And if this rolls a little too far, you might end up with a little pocket in the 4-foot possibly. A lot of things can happen still. This is one of these situations too, Dave, right? If you're BC, you don't want to take one. So there's a point in the end where you're going to be, like right now, they're
if they can get the inside roll, they're going to be very happy.
And this is a situation, I think, but yeah, if you're BC, you want to get that deuce, but at the same time, if you get a half shot here by BC or an opportunity to get out of the end, you'd be very happy to blank. I'm not sure that this is the right shot here either.
Is it the double you think they're playing?
If she plays the double with big weight and rolls out, this will be a blank end.
Yeah, I think just to stick around if she can.
It just seemed like you could have come in with that in-turn draw and nestled it right in there. So you want to keep the shooter if you can.
That's about as well as she could have done. Again, to your point, so important that the shooter stayed around. If that rolls out, she's ripping the guard and the end's over.
Yeah, but the bad part of this now is you got BC's able to spread the rocks out when they were sitting in the 4-foot. I think that was an opportunity for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. Now this looks like a rollout. So now what do you do if you're Saskatchewan?
Now Saskatchewan's hitting a rock wide in the open versus using the guard because they moved it over there.
Yeah.
So they can ignore it and come around that center guard.
Well, they're
certainly going to stick, that's for sure.
Yeah, you have to keep that in play.
It's trying. See BC go up and peel the guard.
Yeah. So from a 3-3 tie early with rocks everywhere, the last couple ends have been a little quieter. Steady throw on that one, and no rocks in play. Well, you still have to throw a guard here. No guarantee they'll make the peel every time. I know a lot of times you think it is.
I don't think there's any worry that BC is going to go around it. They're going to keep peeling.
Might have got this going just a little bit outside, and just does kiss it over. It becomes I guess it's a corner guard. Still probably does what they were hoping for, but yeah, Emily's going to try and play around that.
Yeah, definitely a good chance here now to try to force a single point to BC. If they can get buried around there.
Well, the one situation is if they get buried around, I think if you're at that point BC, just follow it in. You might have to.
Yep, you would for sure.
So
but not an easy shot at that point.
Yeah. But it is one of those shots where you might think about what you want your opponent to do. Maybe you don't even want to bury it fully. Maybe you want to leave a little piece.
Do you want her to throw hack weight at it, or do you want her to draw? I mean, I think if you could walk down there and place it, you're putting it 3/4 behind. You know, probably 8-foot depth.
This definitely looked like it got going really early. You could see that her slide was well out, and
if she's got the weight, she'll get by though.
Yeah, I think.
Good scrub. Good scrub. That is exactly where they
Yeah.
wanted it.
That's a fantastic spot. Yeah, even a difficult corner freeze, because I don't know
Sure.
if he can get shot with
No.
the...
And this is going just sideways. I mean, it only got to, 4 feet past the guard, and it's completely buried. So running the guard, play the double. I mean, if they do, they know that they leave a guard up front still, that Saskatchewan can come around. I'm not sure they have really another option.
Yeah, I think the corner, it's the rock's too high, so trying to play a corner freeze is so difficult.
I mean, you could almost draw around it and try and get half buried and try and score 2.
That's not a bad idea either, and particularly if you think you're going to get one anyway. What this does is keep the blank in play.
Yeah.
Which I think you want to do.
It's close. Very nice. Great shot.
Yep. Force Saskatchewan to make another great shot, and
Yeah.
if they do, you get held to your single. Or, I mean, if it's similar, you might even be tempted to
Play
try
the
a blank
again.
as well.
Yeah.
And at worst, even if you give up a steal,
Yeah.
it's not the worst outcome.
I think if I was Saskatchewan, I'd make sure you take a little bit extra ice and not play quite so close. You get half a round or even a quarter round, you're fine. The one thing you can't afford to do is rub on this guard. The line looks pretty good this time.
Yeah, she didn't necessarily mean to play it as tight as she
No,
did on the
I think she
last
steered it just a little bit, but a little difference in weight too.
Yeah, and this one looks good. They can
Yeah.
bring this deep. In fact,
Yeah.
it's better to bring it deep. Takes the
Yeah,
blank out of play. I
great
think.
shot.
Yeah.
Perfectly buried. Draw for 1 for BC.
I think they're considering a run back.
Oh, I think Caitlin's thinking they can see a little more than they can. She had said maybe half, but we're directly behind the sheet at the hacks. You could see maybe an inch of it.
Yeah, there's not a blank there with the out turn. You really have to play the run back if you think you're going to blank it. And the other danger is you might actually just roll into the rings anyway, depending how you hit it.
I think Kayla's pretty convinced that the draw is the shot she wants to play, which is fine.
It's an interesting idea though, because the downside is,
I mean,
you're only going to get one. You're going to get one. If you try that run back, you could get one that way
well,
too.
The
You
other
can
way
get one,
to play
you can
it,
get blank, and
you can see an inch or two on the out turn. You could play a hack weight at it, and if it hits the guard, you're probably just racing the guard in for your 1 anyways.
Yeah.
So you could play the blank.
Yeah, a
with,
couple
with
of
an
different
out-turn
ways.
hack,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you either run it back or actually go very wide.
Yeah, and you don't throw peel, just throw hack weight, and you can make the blank.
Because you don't have far to roll. But yeah,
Right.
looks like she's.
Yeah, running back, that's fine.
So taking a bit of time here, but they still have just over 5 minutes to play the final end, so they should be okay.
The only, the only thing, they do have lots of time, maybe not lots, but they have over 5 minutes. Sometimes it's better as a skip to go down and call the shot from that end and reset, so you come down thinking about it, you know exactly what you're doing instead of yelling back and forth.
So it goes at it actually with the in-turn.
Very close.
Goes up
She
a
got
little
it.
bit too much.
Oh, I thought she had it.
Very close.
What a great try.
So steal a one for Saskatchewan, and BC now will be 1 down.
I liked it. I liked the call. Nothing wrong with that. So close. So close.
Still has hammer in the final end. I like the call because the best situation to be in at that point is tied with hammer in the final end. So it gives some chance of it happening. It's unfortunate. You never like to be down, but in this situation, it's still very close that I know in the top levels, you'd have about a 40% chance of winning in this situation. And so Actually, it's interesting that at every level of the game that we've studied, it's kind of about 60-40, where the team that's one up without has about a 60%, or even a little bit.
How much has that changed
below.
with the free guard or with the 5-rock free guard zone?
You know,
we
we still need to kind of collect the data. We need a larger sample size, but interestingly enough, it's still pretty consistent if we look at a lot of the 5-rock events that have been played over the past few years. And part of it is because I don't think the end itself changes dramatically. When you're one up without hammer, you're playing to the center, you're trying to force the play, you're not really worried that they've got a second guard they can throw because you're still playing aggressive.
I think where it does make that big difference is if you accidentally slid in on your first guard, you know you have a second guard. Whereas, you know, previously in 4-rock, it's just peel time after that.
So it came a little deep there. I think what Saskatchewan want to do is put that in the top of the 4-foot, and then now they're just left a rock that could help BC later on. This looks to be a little heavy as well. It's that anxious moment as you're just nothing you can do, waiting for it to slide.
Just helpless.
Come to
Please
a stop. Yeah. So now Saskatchewan can make a play on that. But as you say, with the 5-rock, they'll have a chance to put up another guard.
Yeah.
Actually clearing everything out. Actually, that was actually a good result. I don't know if that's what they were planning on. I think they were looking for the inside roll, but probably a better result. So again, the loser of this game will be eliminated from competition. So a little bit of extra pressure for these teams right now.
Very good adjustment.
Yeah, definitely a situation where coming a little short of the rings wouldn't be a bad shot either, and blocking off the in-turn draw. Just don't want to be deep.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Kevin. It's all too often that the younger curlers in particular feel like the best shot is always the 4-foot. And it's not. I mean, the goal of the shot is to cut or to eliminate the opportunity for BC to use that guard and draw around it. So top 8-foot, top 12-foot.
This is not what they want exactly. Yeah, this is just helping BC.
And same thing for BC. They don't need to be in the 4-foot. I mean, it can be, what you don't want to do is probably over curl, to your point. Sometimes they'll curl right out the other side. So top 8-foot's great.
It's a fairly long guard as well. I think that wherever this ends up, Saskatchewan may have a play on it.
Yeah. Well, Saskatchewan's going to go into peel mode now. Needs to bury, though. That's the big thing. Doesn't really matter where it is as long as it's buried.
Well,
not terrible.
Well, see, actually, that does give a bit of an advantage to Saskatchewan. It's unfortunate that it's yellow, but if that had been a little bit more open, now this way with the way they're staggered, they can make play to the center. It's all about making one good shot.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And putting some pressure on the opposition.
I think if you're BC, you're happy with this, though. I mean, you're forcing Saskatchewan to draw, which means you've got rocks to come around. You're going to be able to get a chance at a 2 as long as you make a good shot in behind them.
This one light again. I wonder if conditions changed at all or just
well,
a little uncertain. It seems like it's
I think it was just too much of an adjustment there on that shot.
Yeah.
From being back 12 foot to just short of the house. So
didn't look at the out-turn draw here at all.
Yeah, which is interesting, right? I was looking at that too.
Mind you, if they were tight and just rub that red, it'd be interesting. Almost get it. There's a split available there.
Good shot by Hannah. Well, Saskatchewan moving into protect mode, force 1.
So no eye on the hog rocks, I noticed, but is there actually no one watching the hog line?
Well, they've actually eliminated any sort of hog line, viewing or electronics at all junior levels. So including the World Championships, the World Curling Federation has said it's not something that they wanted to do. They feel like there's enough for the juniors to worry about without also worrying about now there's this new imposed thing that they haven't had to deal with before, and they want to encourage them on making shots. So I think if somebody's blatantly going over, you can request to have hogline officials come out, but it's not standard. And honestly, I've been watching this week, and it hasn't been an issue.
Well, I've always felt that whether it's more of a guideline, and whether you're going over a little bit or not, it doesn't really improve your shot per se. But it is something that back in the day you could use as a technique to get in people's heads if you wanted to.
No, I believe the only time somebody really slides over is if they make a mistake on their delivery, they come out unbalanced or offline, and they need to adjust. So the fact that they're adjusting probably isn't going to lean towards a great result on the shot in the first place. So everyone otherwise would let go before the hog line if they're sliding good.
So
timeout.
Timeout now. Came light there. They were looking to get that into the to freeze on their own top yellow.
It's a small house for BC to get to. I mean, that's the good news for Saskatchewan. I mean, all Saskatchewan's trying to do right now is make that house even smaller for 2. So right now they have draws both on the out turn and in turn to score 2. So the question is, how do you make that house smaller? So here's some shots from
BC.
Yeah, last end, right? Some of the frustration that we're seeing from a couple of the shots. It's such a stressful game.
There's nothing like the body language.
There's
the body language of juniors. Yeah.
I think I've seen the most outgoing body language in my. Oh, that one hurt. in my wife Heather, right? A little leaning, a little body language. Maybe get that.
There's something about when you're young, it just seems to mean so much more, because there's sort of a small window of opportunity to be successful in the juniors. And also, it's I don't know if it's the case too when you don't lose too much when you're young. It just seems so incredibly frustrating when it happens. But as you get older, you lose a lot, and you start to get used to it almost, or just shrug your shoulders and go, I've missed that shot before. Yeah.
So. Right now, BC has both the out turn to the 4-foot and the in turn to the 4-foot. The best chance for Saskatchewan to make the ring smaller for their deuce is to put one in there that's even tighter. So they're going to play the out turn draw. If they can ever kind of wiggle up against that yellow one with the amount of curl, it's going to make that draw with the in turn even more difficult. But there's no question BC is going to have both ways.
And there's still a few rocks to come here. It's possible as well. BC might want to promote
silver curl,
one of the guards, but Yeah, we see here, and it's a bit of the weight situation too. I don't think that was going to make the ring. So,
No. But it did cut off the out turn, but it didn't make the rings any smaller.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming it's difficult for us to tell right now, but I'm certain the yellow shot.
Now, do you like the draw here, Dave, or trying to actually promote the yellow shot?
I like the draw.
You like the draw?
Yeah, I like the draw. I think you can win the game right here with a really good shot.
No, I didn't see where she positioned the broom. I'm wondering where they're trying to land this.
Yeah, just outside middle of the 12-foot. Now this is Caitlin's out turn, which is going to run a little bit straighter. Right?
Well, and the danger, of course, if you do leave it open, you might leave a double.
That's right.
Line's
close.
They did tuck, I think, a little piece behind. So, although Saskatchewan's motioning to see if thinking they can get an inside roll.
I think they can see half of it. So, yeah, with a heavy draw, they can come around with a draw and tap that. But you don't want to wreck on the guard, and obviously you don't want to be wide and tap it in for shots. So it's not an easy shot. This is definitely a weight shot. With the right weight, you'll get the curl.
Oh, I thought it was wait and see what happens on the shot. That was it. Now I get you, of course. Definitely noisy, though. This is a little more like a football game than a curling draw, which I think I like. I think a little bit more noise adds to the atmosphere.
Well, the Alberta fans are out here. They're playing on 2 sheets, so that's fantastic. I mean, you've got the Saskatchewan fans who are always loud and vibrant. So yeah, it's a great atmosphere out here. The bleachers behind the sheet of ice is fantastic. I mean, we're so used to in arenas watching from the side, so setting them up on the ends is great.
So an in-turn draw by Emily here. We'll see if she can.
From that ice, it had to have been kind of backline to hack weight, I'm guessing. No, line's good.
You don't want to be sweeping for weight. Is really the way I think of these. Got to get the finish on it, though.
Line was close. Oh, what a nice shot.
Great shot.
There you go, backline weight, all a weight shot. As long as she had the right weight, you knew you were going to get that curl. Very well thrown.
So now if you're BC, I think you try to promote that Yellowstone. It's dangerous, but you have to think about winning. As much as a tie gets you to the next end if you get your one, you don't want to be in a position here where you're just going to accept that single point.
No, I agree.
You got 2 shots to come. Even at the risk that you might actually lose the game right here if you get a bad result. I don't think there's any way actually she can do damage, even if they.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, you hit it onto your own yellow. It goes back onto the red. You're still shot rock.
Exactly. Yeah.
You might double the 2 reds out. You might just open it up and get a shot in your last rock. I don't think there's any way to really hurt yourself.
Yeah, I think what she's looking at right now is just playing it more as a tap weight.
Yeah.
As opposed to a run back.
I think I'd probably. I mean, I would be in the middle. I'd probably look at something like board weight.
I think you could play it either way. You could even play it up weight if you want. At the very least, what you are going to do is open up the side a little bit. And, you know, if you're fortunate to get the straight back double, I don't know what your opponent does. You know, that could be the shot to win it. The downside here with the tap is you're going to leave those 2 red rocks in play. And
yeah, no, I agree. I think a little bit of weight to move them, even if you move it to back house, or like you said, if you want to throw more weight, that's fine.
Just at least get him out of the 4-foot.
So having a quick look at the clock, BC has 1:51 left, or 1:45 right now. So lots of time, and I think they have a timeout.
They have one more timeout, which we might see on the next shot. I would expect, depending on what happens here. So trying to hit this on the high side.
Pretty close, Kevin. Tell you what, that's pretty close.
Well, they were actually trying to tap it back onto their yellow. And
hit her right there with the hair more weight, and they would be. She had perfect weight. I mean, just a slight more angle, and it would have been sitting too.
Yeah, they just had to catch that a little on the higher side, and
what a great effort.
We got timeout by Saskatchewan now.
Yeah, timeout. So if you're Saskatchewan, you probably know that she's going to play the same shot again.
This is Claire Johnson, coach for Saskatchewan. I mentioned earlier. Again, this entire team out of the Weyburn Curling Club. I guess we could have a shout out to Garth Von Hagen from Weyburn, now living here in Edmonton.
I did not know he was from Weyburn.
All the great Saskatchewan curlers are from Weyburn, David. Or some of them.
I was going to say not quite all, but
several.
So they're looking at the shot that BC has right now is the in-turn tap, the same shot she just played, to nuzzle that yellow one, this top 8, right into the one on the top forfeit for 2 points. I think they have to take that away, where they're throwing guard on it. I don't see anything else really that BC has. I mean, the yellow on the right there. I mean, that's awfully difficult shots.
So this is how we got here. We can see the
there's the shot right there.
Great shot, and then the attempt by BC to play the tap back and just caught it a little bit thick.
Yeah, so close.
Now, are they actually trying to hit the red?
Well, are they trying to win the game right now?
Yeah.
That's possible too. You can't see much of it though, Kevin. You can only see about well, a third of it. But you hit more than a third, you're not making it anyways. So.
Well, an interesting idea, I guess, is you play the shot, play it to miss the guard, and if you're able to rub that over, you could win the game right now.
Absolutely, yeah.
If you miss, you still got a very, very difficult shot for 2.
Yeah, love it. I think it's a great call.
Final stone for Emily Hopstein. What you don't want to do is hit that front guard.
You're right, and
open this up.
This is very tight.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the weight to play on that shot either, Dave. It's
well,
open things up, and it looks like it's just a short tap.
Yeah, timeout BC. More to confirm the shot. She's got lots of time to make this. They're going to confirm where to put the broom and just the weight. I mean, I really think it's the same shot she just threw. Exact same weight. Through the hole, and Tappier's in for the win.
Yeah, the only danger really is if you get the weight up a bit here.
Yeah.
But,
But you know, I really like the shot, but as you pointed out, even if she missed it wide, I mean, it leaves BC with a really difficult shot for 2. Just the only way not to miss it was being on that guard.
Well, and I don't know why playing that soft weight, because you're trying to just hit an inch of the rock.
Yeah.
And you actually need a little more weight to push that and try to move that yellow rock out of there and to sit one in the first place. So you could almost play that with board weight. You could almost throw a hit at it, quite frankly.
You could, yeah.
And,
but again,
and
you're really tight to that guard then.
Yeah,
so I think the board weight was probably the shot.
And she had hack, really.
So,
it almost seemed like it.
Yeah.
That,
right thought process. I love the shot. I think just the execution in terms of the weight, like you said, and how to miss it if you're going to miss it wasn't quite there. But, I mean, she played to win, so I love it. I don't have any problem with that.
Well, at least right now it looks like at worst we're looking at an extra end. And here's a shot to win the game right now.
In-turn tap, same shot that Kayla Bucci just threw. Looks like we have Ontario, Alberta also going to an extra end on the sheet next to us.
Like she's got a
great shot,
Dave.
Beautiful.
Fantastic, it is. Now the question is it second shot?
Well, that's good.
Well, if there's any doubt,
Well, one yellow. I mean, they had nothing else they could do. They had to play it. I actually thought it was going to be shot for sure, but it's much closer than I thought. So they'll bring the sticks out. Eighth end measurement for the win.
What do you think, Dave? What do you call?
Well, I'm going to say it's 2 yellow.
And I think you're right.
2 yellow it is. BC
2
gets the
yellow.
win.
And BC will move on with a 7-6 win over Saskatchewan.
Well, great game. Great game. You can see the emotion from Saskatchewan right now. But leaving here knowing they left it all out there.
Yeah, it was an exciting finish for sure. Final score 7-6, and next draw will be on at
5 p.m. Mountain Time.
5 p.m. Mountain Time.
5 p.m. and then 7:30. Is that right? That's what it says.
Oh. Next broadcast will be at 7:30.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, David. Until next.